Hey, I'm Jackie D'Elia and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about gear and how do you know if you have too much gear? Let's start off first with talking about lenses. And I think I have too many lenses. I think that I've impulsively bought lenses in the past, and when I look now, I'm not really sure why I bought them. I think I've just been impulsive, influenced a lot by other photographers, seeing what work they're doing and where they're shooting. And of course, I'm always imagining that I am living that life and going these places and photographing the landscapes that they're seeing. And I think, okay, well, I need this gear and I need that gear and I need this. And then when I was starting my YouTube channel, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to need lighting, I'm going to need 2 cameras, I'm going to need different lenses for different ways of shooting the videos. And I ended up selling some lenses last year, buying some other lenses, and just this past couple of weeks I've been really thinking about, do I need all of the gear that I bought, and did I just impulsively buy some of this gear? And I know that a lot of photographers have this issue and videographers, but I'm not a professional photographer or videographer, right? So I'm just a hobbyist, and I'm at a stage in my life where I want to do more with photography and videography. I wanted to stay in the Fujifilm ecosystem, at least for now. I'm always open to trying other gear and seeing if it suits my needs. I've watched several videos recently that were talking about, your camera is just a tool and you should use the right tool for the right job and not marry a brand. And it's hard to do sometimes because I really enjoy shooting with Fuji. I've had my Fuji cameras since 2014, so 10 years now I've been shooting Fuji. Before that it was Canon 5D Mark III I had. And honestly, I miss that camera. And I'll get to that in a minute and explain why I miss that camera, but we'll get into that. So how much gear is too much gear for somebody who's just doing this as a hobby? I just wanted to talk about what I bought and why I'm thinking maybe I bought too much. I have 2 zooms and 6 prime lenses. And I'm specifically looking at the primes right now going, do I really need all of these primes? And so I started going through them one by one. And of course, I have the 80mm macro, which I bought last year. This was just the romance of shooting with my Canon 5D Mark III with a 60mm macro lens and even later a 100mm macro lens. I really enjoyed shooting with that, and I got some really nice macro shots with it. Here's a few shots that I took with the Canon 60mm macro lens 14 years ago. This lens is heavy, very heavy for me. And I think that it's not suited as well for the Fujifilm bodies. I have been struggling with it. So this is one lens that I really need to consider whether or not it's the right lens for what I intend to do in the future, not what I was imagining I would do from something from 12 years ago. The 80mm macro lens, I have the 70-300 because I feel that I should just have a telephoto lens, right? I haven't really even used it yet, but I got it. And then I have the 56mm 1.2, the original, and I've bought this twice already. So I've had it once, I sold it, and then I bought another used copy, and I have it now. And I don't use it that much. Its focusing is slow, but I keep it because I think I'm gonna take some good shots in the garden with this, or this would be a good lens for doing some portraits, which I haven't really shot any portraits, so I'm not sure about this lens either. My 35mm lens, I love this lens. So this was the very first lens that I got with Fujifilm, and it is 10 years old, and it still takes fantastic pictures. I love that it's lightweight, which goes to the lens that I just bought recently, was the 16mm f2.8. Love that lens as well because it's light, easy to carry around, great focal length to mix with the 35mm, so have both of those, right? So here's the 16mm lens. I really like this lens. And then I've got the 18 to 55 because I was told that this is a great lens for shooting video. So make sure you have this. It had IBIS, which when I had the X-T3, there was no IBIS, so this was pretty important if you were going to be shooting any video handheld. So I bought this lens. It's also a great lens. It is nice and sharp, and it's compact. It's heavier than the 35mm, definitely heavier than the 16mm here, but it's a good lens if you just needed to take one lens with you for photography and for video. And then I've got the 23mm, which is overhead, the 1.4 LMWR, and that is shooting what's here on the table right now. And then I'm looking into the Viltrox 13mm 1.4 lens. And I recently bought that lens for two reasons. One is I thought it would be great for recording video, vlogging, has a nice wide field of view. And I also thought it would be great for astrophotography, which I have tried a couple of times and I've really enjoyed doing it. But again, I am not one to be out traveling and shooting night sky shots, and I'm asking myself again, why do I need that? Actually, the 13mm 1.4 lens is a really good vlogging lens, and also great if you were doing low light photography. I have lighting. I have the Aperture 100X. I have two of those. So I have one in a softbox in my office, and then I've got one in this room here that is on a lantern. So that provides plenty of lighting. So I really don't need the 1.4. In fact, I'm shooting right now at f2.8 on the 13mm. And I'm shooting at f4 up here on the 23mm. The 23mm is a really great lens. I love that. I did a review not long ago comparing it to the original 23mm 1.4 that I had and this one, and I really do prefer the LMWR. It's a heavy lens in comparison to, these two little lenses that I've got here, but I find that if I had to keep one, that would be probably one of the ones that I would keep, aside from the 35, which I will never sell. So altogether, I have 8 lenses right now, and I'm thinking, okay, do I really need 8 lenses? And I think that I've impulsively bought some of these, when truthfully, 2 lenses would be fine for all of that. I have the X-T5, which is right up here, shooting down on this table. And then I've got the XS20, which I'm looking into right now shooting. I wanted definitely to have 2 cameras because I do enjoy getting 2 angles of shots when I'm doing something, especially if I'm in the garden, or especially if I'm doing anything here where I'm doing an overhead shot and wanted to showcase some products. Like I recently did that Shimoda Urban Explorer bag review, and this table was set up with the camera above, and it was really handy to be able to have a camera to look into and then also one overhead to show what you're actually looking at. And it helps. I find it helpful when I'm watching YouTube videos. It's nice to see a couple of different angles. It helps me be able to visualize. But I do think I have too much gear. I have this microphone that I bought, which is the Rode Go-To microphone, and it's a nice shotgun mic to put on the camera. And this pairs really well with the Viltrox because that is a very quiet lens. It's not going to pick up any noise from the lens. If I was using the 35 millimeter for filming video, it would pick up way too much noise. And even this 16 millimeter, it makes a little bit of noise. It's not an LM motor on this one either. So now the 18 to 55 is nice and quiet, so this microphone would work great with that too. What I am using right now for my microphone though is the DJI wireless mic, the original one. They come with 2 transmitters and a receiver. And I should not have done that. Now that I opened that, it tried to pick up the other mic that's in the box. Don't open the box. And then I bought a lav. I saw this video maybe a year or so ago, and they were talking about how the Shure MVL lav mic paired really well with the DJI, that it didn't have any noise or any issues with it. And I'm really happy with the audio that I'm getting with that. Now, of course, sitting here, I could definitely use the Rode mic for picking up the audio. I don't need to set up the whole wireless thing and go through all of that. But if I'm going to be recording a video out in the garden and I'm walking around and I'm doing things, then the lav with the wireless mic or just the wireless mic clipped on is really the best option. So I definitely invested in this, and I'm happy that I bought it, but I'm sorry that I bought it as well. These have internal batteries, lithium-ion batteries. This will not last forever. I cannot replace the batteries that are in these. So eventually, this will no longer work. It might be 5 years from now, it might be 3 years from now, nobody knows. The warranty will be over, and it'll pretty much be something that you will have to toss if the batteries will not hold a charge. So that's something to consider when you're buying a microphone as well. This thing is powered by the camera, so I don't have to worry about this. This thing will last forever, actually. As long as there's a proper jack to plug into a camera, you would be fine with this. That's something to consider. I really would like it if they would have replaceable batteries in them. I think that this whole disposable everything is concerning to me. I'm not real happy with that at all. I would think really hard about whether or not I would buy the DJI wireless mic again. I also bought another piece of gear that I think I might have bought more than I needed was this. This is the Nisi Swift system, right? And of course, I was originally thinking of getting the 77 millimeter. So these are all just filters. So it's got a variable ND, a full ND, and it's got a circular polarizer, an adapter, and a couple of other things. I invested in this system because I thought it made the most sense because I could use one size on all of my lenses. And again, I'm hedging for the future thinking, okay, well, what if you decide to go full frame later and you're going to have some bigger lenses, you're going to need bigger filters, right? So I bought the 82 millimeter, which looks gigantic on the Fujifilm lenses. If I was to try to use that on here, it would be just ridiculous. So I'm thinking probably should have got the 77 or even the 67 size if I was really thinking about it. But I impulsively thought, okay, yeah, I need the 82. Let me get the biggest one. This way everything will work. And if I wanted to stack a couple, I don't have to worry about any vignetting later. This is going to come in handy as far as the ND filter for filming outside because it is way bright during the day. And if you're going to be filming anything in the garden, you're definitely going to need an ND filter. Did I just talk myself into keeping everything that I have? I'm not sure. I may have. This is the challenge now, is to not buy another lens, just to work with what I have. And honestly, I think I've made some good choices, but I won't actually know until I'm really using them on a daily basis to know. I think I'll be filming with the 13 millimeter and probably the 23 millimeter. I think those will be the two that I film with. And then the rest would simply be for photography. And most likely it's going to be the 23 and the 35 and maybe the 16. I'll take this little guy out with me. The one that I'm thinking, at least right now, that I probably won't use very much is the 70-300. I'm just not into big, heavy lenses. It's just, the whole reason I went with Fujifilm 10 years ago was I loved that Canon 5D Mark III, but it was heavy. That gets back to the 80mm macro. So let's talk about this for a second. The 80mm macro is, like I said, is heavy. The Fujifilm's cameras are not that heavy. So what I'm finding is when I am holding that camera with that lens, I'm having a hard time keeping it steady to take a macro shot with. Now I have a flash that I can put on there and a diffuser that will diffuse that flash so that I could then increase my shutter speed and reduce any more shaking, right? This has IBIS. That 30mm macro that Fuji came out with does not have IBIS, but both of my cameras have IBIS now. So I'm wondering, would I have been better off with the 30mm macro? It's lightweight, it's smaller. Would I have been a lot happier shooting with that? And should I maybe rent one and test that out for a couple of weeks and see? That seems like something reasonable. The quality on the 80mm macro, they're fantastic. My challenge is, can I hold the camera still enough to be able to capture the image and not have it be blurry? And also, just, will I end up having to just use a tripod all the time for the macro shots that I want to do? And am I going to want to do that? That's the question. Is I was so used to, with the Canon 5D Mark III, just going out, hand holding it. The camera was heavy, the lens was heavy, everything was balanced, and it just seemed, from my memory anyway, and this is 14 years ago. So I'm finding right now that the 80mm macro, while it takes absolutely beautiful shots, I'm wondering, am I going to have to put this on a tripod all the time? And if I am, then I'm not sure I want to do that. I think for me, the best thing for me to do at this juncture is to just spend the next 6 months using all of them, seeing which ones I really enjoy shooting with, seeing which ones I don't, and then making a decision to sell the ones that I don't, and seeing how things go with those. Have you bought and sold gear that you have been sorry that you did, or regretted making a change from camera systems? I see more videos about Sony cameras now than I see about pretty much anything else. Maybe a little more lately of Nikon, but Sony, Sony, Sony. I hear it all the time. And I'm often wondering to myself, should I get Sony now? Should I sell all the Fuji and get Sony? But I really like the Fuji. I like the cameras that are lightweight and easy to hold. I love the colors, and I don't want to spend a lot of time editing. I'm rambling. Yes, again. Thanks for watching this video, and please leave in the comments what your thoughts are. I'd really like to hear from others. Thanks and take care, and I'll see you in the next one.